right, so we're going to talk about some more rhythm guitar techniques and learning how to control our right hand and what we want to do with our right hand when we're playing. Sometimes all you really want to do is just strum across the neck or across the strings to just get all the strings at one time. But there's other kinds of techniques where you want to be more in control of how you're going to create the strum. Sometimes you only want one note to occur at a certain beat, and then you want the strum to follow that. So what I want to show you is a simple way to practice that. Let's say you have a C chord, like an open string C chord like that. Okay? What I want you to work on is practicing playing the root first. Okay? And then strumming the remaining part of the chord after you hit the root. So it would sound like this. Okay, but notice I hit the root first. Okay, as opposed to this. Right? That's a different sound where I'm playing all the notes of the chord at the same time. Listen to the difference. Or completely different kind of a feel there, isn't it? You have to be more in control of the technique when you do this, because you stop and then you play the chord. So that's a good exercise to work on. So I want to do that for our next progression right here. And you notice what I've written here. This means play the bass note of the chord first and then do the strum after. So literally it's going to sound like this. Now, I want you to also observe that I'm playing the root, and then when I play this chord, I'm really playing the top remaining part of this chord. I'm not playing the root again. I'm going. So I'm really only playing from the E above. So you don't hear the root again until I hit the low bass note. It would be easy if I just went and strummed the entire chord, but I'm really not. I'm going. So you have to be really precise about where your pick comes in and strums. It takes more skill that way. So if I look back at my progression, I'm going to go root, strum, 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 root, strum, strum, strum. And I go to the A minor and I hit the low A. And once again, only the low roots and then the rest of the chord above it. Let's just work on those two chords together. 3, 4. Okay. It's funny how just inserting one bass note before the strummed part of the chords just creates a different kind of a texture to the progression. Listen to how much of a different musical texture that creates than this. Okay, now listen to this. A dynamic contrast between the bass note and the chord, and it sounds musical, and it's just a variation that I want you to practice. Okay, so we're going to keep doing that through the rest of the progression here. We'll hit the bass note, and then of course we'll strum. But in this case, when we hit the bass note, we only have 3 notes left above to play. So this D minor chord will sound a lot smaller because there's really only 1 root and then 3 bass notes. So you really have to be precise about where your fingers come in, because you've only got the top 3 strings left. So it's going to be root, okay, and then we go to the G chord, and now this is kind of cool because we can hit the lowest root here that we've had in the whole progression, and then 5 notes above it. So we can go root, okay? So let's put the whole thing together, nice and slow, but let's see if we can really work on controlling our right hand technique here, okay? 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay. It might seem very simple, but it takes more skill than you think, especially if you play it slowly and you really listen to what you're trying to achieve, right? It would be easy to just go and strum all the notes, but we're trying to be cleaner and more precise with it. Low note and then upper part. And another thing I'm going to point out, after I get to the A minor chord, when I go to the D minor chord, if I just lift my fingers up and I play the D minor sound after it, I have low strings ringing that don't sound good against the D minor. Watch what I do with my hands. Let me show you that again. You'll see my right hand came in and choked off. I muted the strings for just a split second, and then I came in with a new chord, and it was clean. That way I cut off the sound of the ringing A notes, and then I brought in a clean chord. It's very subtle, but it happens almost undetectably, but it makes it sound better when you do that. So watch again. Okay, so little subtleties like that really make a person who plays rhythm guitar have variations on the types of moods and rhythms and sounds they can create. And sometimes the simplest thing will make a big difference in the way you play rhythm guitar. Okay, so I want you to work on that. Okay, so I've changed our progression a little bit that you can see behind me, and I just wanted to give it a little variation. And I'm going to bring back the drum machine, and you're going to hear that the drum machine has a kick drum pattern that might encourage you to play a different bass rhythm with your guitar. But I understand that, but I want you to still keep it to just the basic quarter note one right now. And we can talk about why you want to change it later because it sounds better, but let's just keep it real straight right now. So it's going to sound like this. Okay, so just making sure that you hit the bass notes first, and then the strum. Okay, let's finish off with this, and let's make it sound good. Here we go. 1, 2, 3, 4. You know, if you want to try the variation, you go like this. A little tougher. You know what? Let's keep doing that. Let's just slow it down a little bit so you can work on. Now we're really locking into the bass drum, but I'm going to slow it down so you can be more accurate. You're going to do that while you still strum inside that. So check that out. It takes more control for sure. Okay, so what we're trying to achieve there is a tighter relationship between the bass notes and the kick drum of my drum machine right here. That's ultimately what you're trying to do in any musical situation, is to have the skills to execute a perfect match between your part and the other parts in the band. And our simple little drum machine groove gives us an opportunity to do that with our bass notes that we're now adding to our chords. Okay, so I'll see you next lesson. I hope you've had a good time learning these concepts today. And like I said, let's take a look at some music theory books and study some of the concepts about the harmonized scales, and you'll get that will benefit you in other lessons. Okay, I'll see you next lesson. Talk to you soon.